I'm showing this just to get started because I was born in England and I'm English. I was kidnapped in 41, brought to Moulton, Alabama, and given the name of a twin who was dead. Both twins were. And I've got all this up, and this is about the sixth tape or fifth that I'm putting up today. And now I'm going to hurry and get the end of this. I'm leaving. The other one, I don't have room left. Storage is out. So I'm just going to complete this with Lionel Dempsey took me across the state line after all that. And my ex-husband did go in. He came back over. So I was taken from my home where the lease was in my name, all of it illegal. Every bit of this whole thing has been illegal. There's no civil rights. So I basically didn't see my children again but a few times over the years. And at those times, I was afraid my ex-husband, quite frankly, would kill them. They never knew that antifreeze was put in me. They never knew really what happened to me. And I haven't really seen, I saw Mark one time in 83 because I was afraid of my husband and his new wife, what they could do because they already had tried it. I was in the campaign and I went out and I got to see Mark. And Larry Flint had furnished me a car, so I moved to, and I had some money, and I moved to D.C., and I called Mark, but Mark was working, and I could never get a hold of Scott. And Scott's the one they held back and gave a lot of trouble to. Mark had it rough also, and Scott certainly did, and it breaks your heart, because my children, that's one reason I put this up on Facebook and YouTube, hoping they could have a way to reach me. It's so convoluted, and some things I can't tell because my children, Mark and Scott, are heirs, legal heirs after me, not William and Harry or any of them. That's illegal. Elizabeth is a cold-blooded killer. I put all this up. Her father, George VI, is illegal, etc. So I'm not going to put that up again. Rather, Dempsey, the mother of the twins, where they put me when they kidnapped me, and she had killed them, she was afraid that if this was told, my book was published and told, that it would expose who I am and what she'd done with the twins, and the family had covered it up, her family had. They should face a gas chamber. When I finally got, she illegally took me across the state line. And when I was made to go to her place. Now, my apartment's in Atlanta. It's been taken illegally. And all this in between where they almost killed me. And I'm still having the effects. You don't get over it. For 3 years at least, with all that happened to me, or 4, I didn't get over it. It was hell. So Dempsey took me there. This woman killed her twins, and I was told to call her mother the psychopath, and she was diagnosed that, her and my husband John, and Gonzalez, the doctor, who's a part of this, was out at Parkland when John Kennedy was brought in. He was an intern, but he wasn't on my side, believe me. Anyway, I want to get back to this, and I'm in this hell all your, and she takes me there to her trailer. And up on her wall, it's like this nursery school, and it's got different that fit together. They're poster here till it completes it. It says Humpty Dumpty sat on the wall. Humpty Dumpty had a great fall. All the king's horses and all the king's men can never put Humpty together again. Well, I'm going to fast forward to when I was out at Mr. Flint's and I first met him. He said to me, "You don't have to tell me anything. I already know all there is to know," and they were going to send you back a vegetable. So they never meant for me to get the antifreeze. I was supposed to go in a coma and die, and she had this on the wall. Now then, I got a job for Fred Simpson, as in there, it's like clues to my identity that I found out later, as in Wallace Simpson was supposed to marry my father, King Edward VIII. It was a lie. He was married to my mom, and she was queen. They destroyed him with character assassination, then kidnapped me in 41 at age 2. And I was the legal heir because of papers drawn up. My father was illegally taken down, so I was Victoria the second day I was born, and that's why the Illuminati kidnapped me, and my own uncle, some of my own family, and Elizabeth has always known. The whole family has a way back on all directions. The German side was part of who tried to help me. And, okay, it was horrible living there. I couldn't tell my children. I found out, and I don't know that I got that up, but the tox screen was finally done. That was done on April Fool Day of 80. The tox screen I finally had done, and it, rather than being sent to Alabama lab, where it should have been, I'm in Alabama then, taken across the state line to Dempsey's. They were going to finish me off good, since that didn't. So it came back from Atlanta, and that's who had the crime lab, the Georgia crime lab there in Atlanta, had typed my book. The girl worked there, had answered an ad where I wanted to get someone to type it and retype it for me, because I had to go back to work to live and try to get the book published. So here it is. Now then, this has all happened to me, and my ex-husband or husband, whoever he turns out to be, I thought he was an ex-husband, he walks in, and where I can't get the results, but it came back from the Georgia Crime Lab, not the, you would send it to Alabama Crime Lab where it was taken, and they didn't. So anyway, he walked in and got it where I couldn't. He gave it to me, and I gave it to people till it got, well, I'm not going to tell what happened to me. After I left Ronald Reagan's, I turned all this over, a copy of the book, a letter from the FBI, and where they tried to kill me with the antifreeze. And on the way back to walking, catching a ride, because I had no money, and my husband in the divorce was supposed to give me alimony. You should see what happened when I tried to collect it. That turned out to be... my God, it's unbelievable. So I'm just going to stick with what I'm saying now. I'm not going to go into all that. I'm not. It's horrible. I work for the district attorney. And so Fred Simpson, as in Wallace Simpson, the next job I had was for Doyle Duke, as in the Duke of Windsor. That wasn't my dad, but it's clues leading up to me finding out about my real name and everything. So I'm going to leave this here and tell you what happened. I'm going to leave out, Jack Hartsfield saved my life. He was a reporter, FBI agent. So did, now I can't think of his, Salvador Mazzini. And I put up letters throughout all this from Jack. He was FBI and a news, well, he was undercover working for the newspapers. Well, he was FBI. And he saved my life. He's deceased now. He was 3 years older than me, but... I really miss him. I could talk to him, and he saved my life. What else can I say? Now, Lina Dempsey, I'm going to go ahead and tell this what she did. This has been used. And it's totally, I don't know if I've spent all this time disproving it or what. It was, you get into doctors and Jews. So I was told that, I'm not even going to tell it. I was paying for what my family did to the Jews, the chemical bit. Well, Elizabeth, they installed Elizabeth's father after they took my father down, then kidnapped me. So she's my cousin, I hate to say. So the one that went along with them, they made queen, her father illegal king, and they took my father and mother down, and they kidnapped me and tortured me over here and my children. It's horrible. Nobody wants this told. Anyway, Lina Dempsey, I had just, I couldn't get a job anymore, so this is early 80, I don't know if it's, no, it was late 82, okay. And I had just paid, and I'm not going to tell this, the rest of it. Oh, I was living at Warren House. Anyway, I'm going to fast forward. During this time, I'm beginning to find out I'd been given the antifreeze and all this had happened. And I couldn't I was in bad shape and just trying to pay for the rent, and Lana Dempsey trying to kill me and shut me up. Because she was afraid I'd find out about my real name and all that. So now then, I found out that my ex-husband, who took my apartment while I was going out at his sister's to get a job and get away from it all, I'd gotten the FBI letter when I lived at Laurelwood. This is where this happened. When I was gone out, she helped get me out there. His sister Laura Childers Klein did, and she lives outside Austin, Texas. So she's lived a pretty darn good life, and all these people had their families. Okay. Unbeknowing, I didn't know. I didn't converse. I didn't get to talk with my children. And quite frankly, I was afraid they were going to be killed. I never told them that I had antifreeze put in me. John was actually the one that went in and got the report there. All that many days later that it was finally done was on a Wednesday. I went in to get it done to the emergency room, April Fool's Day of 80. And this is not the following Wednesday, the following, which is about, 9 days later, and he showed the antifreeze and other stuff in me. It should have killed me. Anyway, I saw my children a few times, and my apartment's gone, and I find out that John has remarried. And I'm going to put her name up here, Twyla Pollard. This woman with John tried to have me killed again in November of 82 after I'd taken the book up to with a letter from the FBI and the letter from Revell, where my book went before their directors. They didn't take it, but they had that where it went before them. So then the book was inside. Well, you don't want to know what they did to me then. I got back to Atlanta. I walked out, because I'm walking homeless, and I walked out to the Cobb County Police and, oh boy, trying to get it enforced so I'd have some money to get me off the street and get a job, hopefully. Well, I'm not going to say what happened there, but John and his new wife went out and signed papers trying to have me, in fact, it was to have me killed is what they thought would happen. So this woman, I'm going to stop here because my life has been this way, and this is going to go out, and I'm not going to do another one. My divorce from John Childers, he went up and dictated it to my attorney, and I had a good attorney, I thought, but everybody seems to be able to be bought. My attorney wasn't bought, but John dictated that anything he should ever have or had would be half mine, and that if he married or I married, it wouldn't change things. I would still inherit it. He was to maintain a life insurance policy that when he died, it would be mine. And there was alimony to pay me and child support, which I never got any of it. It's when I went down to get it enforced in November of 82 or October, after I'd been to Ronald Reagan's and put logged the book in at the mail room to Ronald Reagan's adopted son, the host on the radio. And it was logged in this big login book, so there should be a record of it somewhere. It's what happened to me then on the way back to Atlanta, walking and hitchhiking, and carrying this huge, another copy of my book and the papers from FBI and all this other stuff. And I'm not going to say what was done to me on the way. Anyway, she and John tried to have me killed. And I'm going to fast forward to when I moved up here to Roanoke. I understood that John died. I didn't know it was hard for me to even live. I couldn't get jobs anymore. And it was my understanding that he died in it was probably 93, March or April of 93 or 94. That's the same time JFK Jr. came up there to see how they'd made me live. I've put this all up here before. So there should be a record of that, too. Somebody coming, I was on the Appalachian Trail trying to have a place to live, and believe me, it's cold and freezing and starving up there. But anyway, I keep looking to see if I'm going to get up. John had died then, and I remember when I had tried to go back down there, but when I say I was kept penniless, I was. And I would try to go down there and find the children. And make a long story short, here if I can, I'm so tired now. And it doesn't seem to be doing me any good putting all this up. But when I went to the Social Security office, she said to me, and I didn't ask her, I didn't get, so there's some people that have been on my side, okay? She said that John's new wife, Twyla Pollen, or Pollard was her name, and she lives in Atlanta, and she was a beautician. And she had 3 daughters. Anyway, she was in possession of my divorce papers, and I assume, they didn't say this, but I assume, why'd they tell me that she got the life insurance. So now then, I have tried, I can't even get legal aid. A guy took legal aid, took some things, and was supposed to help me with it. A couple of days later, Bostwick was his name, he left. And they told me not to call back. This is legal aid. It goes this high up. And so I've tried to get, on and off, tried to get an attorney to take it. Now they tell me I'd have to go through probate, and they're busy, and I have to do this and I have to do that. So I'm assuming at this time the woman has spent it, or she has given it to her daughters, and I'd play hell at what they haven't spent of getting anything. This woman tried to help have me killed too. It's how she did it. And at least the cop stopped her and him, but he tried it again. John did, right after then in 82. And I'm going to leave it at this, because it was been, when the FBI said ongoing investigation, national security involved, they meant ongoing, my ongoing hell.